Hey all, Ron here from Military Images Magazine with a new episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail. Before the war interrupted the studies and reshaped the course of the life of the young man pictured here, James Monroe Reisinger, better known as Roe to all of his friends, he was a college student with aspirations to enter the law. Born in Venango County, Pennsylvania's oil country in 1842, he entered Allegheny College to pursue a career. In the summer of 1862, it all changed when he answered the call to arms by President Abraham Lincoln and enlisted in the 150th Pennsylvania Infantry, one of two new Bucktail regiments. It's easy to imagine Roe here wearing a cap with the infantry horn on the flat part of the cap, the numerals 150, and that big bucktail coming off the side. At 19 years old, Roe traded the classroom for life in camp and on campaign. Roe and his fellow Bucktails joined the Army of the Potomac in time for the Battle of Chancellorsville, but didn't see action on that occasion. Their first combat came 2 months later at Gettysburg, where they suffered significant losses during the first day's fight. The long casualty list included Roe, who had served as one of the color corporals. In 1903, 40 years after Gettysburg, Roe described the wounds he received in action. In his statement, he referenced the McPherson farmhouse barn and fencing, Sergeant Samuel Pfeiffer, Corporal Samuel Barnes, and a surgeon only identified by the name Brown, who tended to him at Augur General Hospital in Alexandria, Virginia. The letter is a notable read because of the level of detail and the way he describes the severity of his injuries. I want to share that letter with you now. Roe writes, while serving with my regiment, I was one of the regimental color guard. On going into battle at Gettysburg, the guard were given permission to fire their pieces the same as the men in the ranks. I have been asked to give my own statement of my wounds and the manner and time of receiving them. We became engaged about 2 o'clock in the afternoon of July 1st, 1863, just west of the McPherson barn. I was wounded at the first or second fire from the enemy, being struck in the right foot by an ounce ball which shattered the bones of the instep leading to the base of the second toe and lodged in the ball of the foot. This wound was so severe that for fully 10 months after the battle, I could not put the foot to the ground, but went on crutches. When I was struck, Color Sergeant Pfeiffer, who was killed later in the battle, and some of the color corporals urged me to go to the rear. As we were very hotly engaged, I refused. I tried my wounded foot, and finding I could stand on my heel, I kept my place in the ranks. We fought for some time at the fence, then charged it for some distance, but running into a strong force, we fell back to the fence and made a stand there. Some troops came in on our left flank, and we had orders to fall back, which we did in good order until past the McPherson house, where we again made a stand. We again pushed back to the fence and again made a fight there. The enemy came on in such heavy force that we again had to fall back past the house. At this time, few of the color guard were left. Sergeant Pfeiffer, shot through the arm, was still able to keep up the flag. Just as we passed the house the second time, I was shot with a ball weighing over an ounce in the back of the right leg above the knee. It went through the main cord of the leg and ranged downward, lodging deep in the flesh back of the knee. The ball was battered against the bone. This second shot knocked me to the ground, and one of the color corporals, I think it was Barnes, helped me to my feet. As we were being forced back beyond the house toward the seminary, I was again wounded with a round ounce ball in the right hip, the bullet passing through the lower part of the hip and lodging in the flesh of the thigh near the surface and close to the scrotum. I fell and was unable to rise. At the time I received this last wound, I was so weak that I could hardly turn my gun to my face to fire. I am able to speak definitely of the weight and the character of the bullets that struck me from the fact that all three of them lodged and were subsequently extracted, and I have preserved them until now. The different ones were extracted at the following dates: that in the hip on July 10th, 1863, by an Army surgeon at the field hospital in the Catholic Church in Gettysburg; that in the foot when at home on furlough from Pittsburgh Hospital in May 1864; and that in the knee by Surgeon Brown of Augur General Hospital in July of 1864. So, for the period of a year, he had those bullets in his body being removed one at a time. So, that's the end of his letter. But you might wonder what happened, what became of him. Well, Rowe went on to join the Veteran Reserve Corps just a few months later after his discharge from Augur General Hospital. And then in July of 1865, he received a second lieutenant's commission in the 114th United States Colored Infantry, that's the USCT, and he remained in the army on duty guarding the Texas border against possible incursion by the French, part of the French second invasion between 1865 and 1867. Rowe kept at it until April 1867, a full 2 years after Appomattox and 5 years since his original enlistment in the Bucktails. He ended his service as a first lieutenant. Rowe returned to the law, picking up where he left off in 1862. He wound up studying and practicing in Oil City, Pennsylvania, building a career rooted in public service. He remained active in Veterans Affairs, a very familiar face at Grand Army of the Republic or GAR gatherings, and he was a steadfast voice for veterans, particularly those in need. In 1907, Rowe received the Medal of Honor for his actions at Gettysburg, a recognition for that moment of defiance and duty that nearly cost him his life. His citation reads, "Specially brave and meritorious conduct in the face of the enemy." Rowe lived another 8 years, dying in 1915, a soldier to the end. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the next episode of Life on the Civil War Research Trail.